Okay, yes. That's when I started. No, we started in the middle. Do we have to work? We just need three. Oh, we just need three. Okay.
Say grace for us.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Number one, determination of quorum. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. Let's begin. We have 3 committee members present today, so we've met the quorum. Congrats for Alana Fizio and Mario Rossetti. Secretary Treasurer, do we have any updates?
No, we do not.
Okay, motion to open the meeting. Roger. So a motion on the floor to declare today's meeting for the municipality Sioux Committee of Adjustment. Consent granting authority, open and call to order. I need that motion to be moved by one of my committee members. Okay. And seconded by Councilor Caudle. Thank you. For flight session. All in favor? I've already seen the numbers. Agenda continued adjustment. Consent granting authority meeting of April 2nd, 2024 has been provided to us. Are there any issues or concerns with the agenda before we put a motion on the floor to accept this agenda as submitted? If not. So the floor is. Okay, I asked, okay, can I have a mover for the motion? And a seconder? All in favor? Holder of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Is there anything to report here? Secretary Treasurer? Illegal. Before us, we have previous minutes from our last meeting on February 6th, 2024. Is there any business or previous minutes to be addressed? Are there any changes, comments? I have a motion on the floor. I have a motion on the floor to move the minutes, move and accept the minutes. Favor? Okay. Secretary Treasurer, is there any delegations?
No, there is not.
As chair, I would like to announce this is a public meeting. Hear comments on 2 consent applications. The committee will hear comments and evaluate written submissions. The committee makes a final decision. There's a 20-day appeal period from the date of giving of the notice of decision. The applicant, minister, or a specified person or public body may appeal the decision and or any condition imposed by filing a notice of appeal accompanied by the required fee with municipal clerk. The appeal will be forwarded to the Ontario Land Tribunal for review. We'll start with First consent. First application we have before us is 60 Destin. An application by Scott Dell and Phyllis Dell, location of property, 60 Destin Road. Purpose of application, create one new lot and one retained lot on the subject land for a total of 2 lots. And comments received, Secretary Treasurer, are there any comments received for this
I'll go
application?
through my presentation first,
Sure.
and you can just read off of the agenda for the. For the, for the application.
Okay.
Application for consent has been submitted by Scott and Phyllis Dell to create one new lot for a total of 2 lots on the subject lands known locally as 60 Destin Road. The application for consent proposes to create one new lot on the subject lands. The subject land is located within the Drayton area of the official plan and designated as residential shoreline in the official plan and zone residential shoreline in the zoning bylaw. Subject lands have frontage on Abram Lake and is accessed by Destin Road, which is a municipally maintained road. Subject lands have a lot area of 4.7 hectares and a lot frontage of 65 meters on Abram Lake. The subject lands also have 50 meters of frontage on the cul-de-sac at the end of Destin Road. Staff have reviewed the consent process in the context of the provincial policy statement and the official plan of the municipality. All planning decisions must be consistent with the PPS. The subject lands are located on rural lands in the context of the PPS. Residential development, including lot creation as locally appropriate, is a permitted use on rural lands. The proposed severed lot will be serviced by individual on-site sewage and water service. Subject lands are located within the Drayton area of the official plan and are designated residential shoreline. Section 3.2.1 of the official plans provides criteria for development in the Drayton area. New lots shall be a minimum of 1 hectare in size and unlimited and NOP states that limited residential development shall occur primarily as infilling by consent with an existing within the existing residential designation. Proposed lot is greater than 1 hectare in the lot area and serves as infill development. Section 4.11 of the official plan applies to the residential shoreline designation. Residential shoreline designation is characterized by single-tier shoreline development that consists of detached dwellings and existing backlot development. The proposed consent application will result in the creation of a backlot in the residential designation. The official plan does not include specific policy in section 4.11 regarding second-tier development of backlots. However, it does provide a statement that directly relates to the character of the area in terms of single-tier development along the shoreline. Policies regarding land division are included in section 8.14 of the official plan. Policies within this section ensure that divided lots will be suited for the intended and permitted use, and to ensure that the shape and or pattern of the lots are proposed in a manner that does not create long, narrow, or irregularly shaped lots. Specifically, subsection E of section 8.14 requires new lots to have frontage on an open and publicly maintained road. Proposed new severed lot will have frontage on Destin Road, which is an open and publicly maintained road. The proposed severed lot is irregular in shape, however, is representative of residential development that is similar to other lots in the area. Section 8.15 of the official plan outlines policies regarding consents. Section 8.15D states that consents for the creation of new lots should not create or aggravate patterns of scattered development, but should generally have the effect of infilling existing areas of development. The proposal does not result in scattered development, but rather is infilling in an existing developed area. The application for consent conforms to the consent, land division, environmental policies of the official plan. However, the proposed new severed lot is a second tier of development in the residential shoreline designation. The subject land is currently zoned residential shoreline. If the consent application is approved, the severed lot will no longer be located on the lake and would be more appropriately zoned as rural residential. The owners have submitted a current zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the proposed severed lot if it's successful and being awarded consent. Further, the proposed severed lot meets the minimum lot area of the rural residential zone of 1 hectare. However, it does not meet the minimum lot frontage of 40 meters on Destin Road. Zoning bylaw amendment will also include an amendment to permit the reduced lot frontage of 20 meters. Although the proposed lot frontage is being reduced, there is sufficient room for access and a new driveway in the proposed lot frontage of the separate lot. Further development on the separate lot will be required to comply with the standards of the rural residential zone. And comments received, no comments were received by members of the public, but the operations manager at Public Works and the Public Works Department and at Sioux Hydro indicated that they have no concerns.
Do any of the committee members have site inspection reports they wish to present?
There's a question. Okay. According to this here, right?
Yeah.
That's the entrance for the new lot. Right? You're saying from here to here is only 20 meters or 20 meters?
Frontage on Destin would be 20 meters, yes.
That's here,
No, I think it's.
No, the frontage on Destin.
right? Just this square here.
Yes.
Okay, but this part here is also part of that lot, isn't it?
Yeah, so that lot, basically, you got your frontage and it expands out and then you know.
Okay, now, forgive my ignorance. Here it says. Yeah, okay, 1 hectare is 2.4 acres. What?
2.5.
Okay, because here it says point, okay, all right.
It should say 3.26 acres. It says 3.26.
That's a typo, okay, because here it says 0.26.
Yeah, it's 3.26.
Okay. And the last thing, a wildland fire risk assessment, is that something new?
Yeah, so we have a wildland fire kind of assessment manual that we will provide to Scott and just do the development process. He just has to kind of on a site plan for developing a list where the idea of the wildland fire assessment is that you kind of limit the trees close to the building, cut some of the underbrush, and he just kind of provides a bit of a plan stating this is what he's going to do and conformity to this wildland fire manual. And we accept.
And let's the fire chief make a visit to check that out.
No, this is more NRF wildland fire versus.
Okay, applicant presentation. Is there a presentation from the applicant or their agent?
Here for questions, we got any questions?
Member of the public, are there any members of the public in attendance? Anybody? Speak on the application. If you have any more committee discussion, we kind of jumped ahead there.
Yeah, I would just like to say to Mr. Dell, we appreciate your creativity here in this, and we're in a housing crisis, and we do appreciate, your out of the box thinking in order to create more housing for the community, and we're grateful for that. Okay. So thank you.
And I'll open the floor for questions or comments for the last time. Any questions or comments? Okay. I will now place the motion on the table. Will I not? Yeah, it should.
Do you think this is it?
Oh, yeah, that's okay. We'll have to resolve it. Oh, okay.
I gotta read all this, you gotta read all that.
Yeah. Okay.
I caught a frog here for the pretty chair. You got power. You read. Okay. I'll say. Committee of Adjustment chooses that the Committee of Adjustment chooses to approve consent application CO2-2024 Delaware. One new residential lot. Following conditions are recommended to be included in the provisional approval. Following documents must be provided for the transaction. The original executed transfer deed form, a duplicate original, and one photocopy for our records. 1.2, a schedule to the transfer deed form on which is set out the entire legal description of the parcel in question. And 1.3, a reference plan of survey which bears the land title, office registration number, and signature as evidence of its deposit therein, illustrating the parcel to which the consent approval relates. And 2, payment of cash in lieu of parkland prior to final approval. 3, that the applicants apply and obtain approval of the zoning bylaw amendment for the severed lot to be rezoned to the rural residential RR zone and permit a reduced lot frontage of 20 meters. 4, a confirmation provided that a water supply and septic system can be sited on the proposed severed lot to the satisfaction of municipality. 5, that the applicant submit a wildfire risk assessment to the satisfaction of the committee. And I need a mover. Oh,
I'll move in a second.
all in favor? That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you read.
And then the same thing again.
Application document.
Well, some of these gonna hang up for a second. Up to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Another consent application. Consent application. C03-2024 received from Heather Colton for the subject lands locally known as 3242 Highway 642 to facilitate the recreation of 3 individual lots to the subject property at 3242 Highway 642 for a total of 4 lots.
An application for consent has been submitted by Heather Coulson to recreate 3 lots for a total of 4 lots on subject lands that have inadvertently merged some type. Subject lands are locally known as 3242 Highway 642 and is located in Alcona. Subject lands have a lot area of approximately 36 hectares and a total frontage of approximately 413 meters on Highway 642. There is an existing single detached dwelling and accessory buildings located on the subject lands. The existing development is serviced by a private well and septic. The owner is proposing to recreate a total of 4 lots on the subject lands, with each of the proposed lots having frontage on Highway 642. Staff found that the lots were previously severed through an approved consent application design B3/2002 and B9/2003. However, ownership was transferred to the owner after a family member passed, and as a result, the lots have inadvertently merged together. The existing single detached dwelling and accessory buildings are to be located on the proposed retained lot. The proposed severed lots will be vacant and are intended to be used for future rural residential building lots. Staff evaluated the consent application in the context of its policy statement, official final zoning bylaw of the municipality. Subject lands are considered rural lands where rural residential development, including lot creation, is permitted use under the provincial policy statement. Section 1.6.6.4 of the PPS directs that private on-site sewage and water services may be used for municipal or private communal systems are not available or feasible. The proposed lots will be serviced by private on-site sewage and water services. Subject lands are designated as rural in the official plan of the municipality. Under section 4.12.1 of the official plan, low density residential uses are listed as one of the permitted uses in the rural designation. The official plan in section 4.12.2 directs that limited residential development shall be permitted in the rural designation. The year-round municipal road and school bus services exist. New residential lots shall not be permitted in remote areas of the municipality. Subject lands are located on a provincial highway and have access to school busing. The official plan requires that new lots must be suitable for the intended and or permitted use and must have direct access to an open and maintained road. The proposed consent would recreate new lots that are suitable for the intended use and have lot frontage and access on Highway 642, an open and maintained provincial highway. Section 8.14G of the official plan requires that all land division proposals having frontage on a provincial highway be circulated to MTO for review and comment. The application has been circulated to MTO, however, staff have not received any comments regarding the consent application. The subject lands are located within the rural zone. Permitted use for the rural zone includes single detached dwellings. The proposed lots meet the minimum requirements of the RDs.
Okay, Secretary Treasurer, any comments received?
We have no comments received.
Do any of the committee members have site inspections report that they wish to present? Is there a presentation from the applicant or their agent? See none. Are there any members of the public in attendance who wish to speak on the application? See none. I'll open the table up for discussion of the application by my committee members. Just, I know the bit of history on how it ended up just becoming one parcel of land.
So for some reason, the planning act, like it's recently been changed, but if you couldn't, like if you went through a plan, like a consent application or created a new lot for an art plan, the abutting property owners couldn't, the both properties could be under the same ownership or the same name. So a lot of times you'll see like with like, let's say a husband and wife, one property might have the husband and wife as the ownership, and the other might just have the wife or the husband. So they don't work for some reason. That has changed in the last few years. So if you create a property through consent or create a property through plan subdivision, it can be all under the same ownership and it won't automatically merge. I don't know what the rationale was back in the day to require that, but it has been changed. So we used to have a condition in our consent that the transferee could not be under the same name. But now we're taking that condition out because it's not required.
Okay, final comments. I will now open the floor for questions or comments. None. I will place the motion on the table. That consent application CO3 2024 Colson being an application to recreate 3 new lots for a total of 4 lots on the subject's lands. The approved subject to the recommended conditions of provisional consent. 1, that the following documents must be provided for the transaction. A, the original executed transfer deed form. A duplicate, original, and 1 photocopy for our records. B, a schedule to transfer and the word deed form on which is set out the entire legal description of the parcel in question. And C, a reference plan of survey which bears the land title's office registration number and the signature as evidence. 2, that the applicant obtains entrance permits for each lot in accordance with the municipality's entrance policy, as well as the engineer's entrance policy, if applicable. 3, that the applicant confirm that all lots comply to the zoning bylaw. We have a motion on the floor. Can I get a mover? We have a motion on the floor. Can I have a show of hands of all in favor? Carried. Not only carried. Mhm. Okay, minor variance applications. Now, do I have to read this from the front page? Oh, and then read the actual application. Minor variance application. Committee will hear comments and evaluate written submissions. The committee makes the final decision. There's a 20-day appeal period from the date of the decision. The applicant, minister, or specified person of public body that has interest in the matter may appeal the decision made by the committee by filing a notice of appeal in writing to the secretary treasurer of the committee and attaching the fee required for the appeal. The appeal will be forwarded to the Ontario Land Tribunal for review. 9.3 minor variance application. M02-2024, received from Kendall Stoll. Subject land locally known as 37 Prince Street to seek relief from various requirements of the zoning bylaw to permit a secondary dwelling unit in an accessory building. Any comments?
That's the presentation. An application for a minor variance has been submitted by Kendall Schultz for the subject property known locally as 37 Prince Street. Subject property is frontage on Prince Street and along Third Avenue. The purpose of the minor variance application is to permit a secondary dwelling unit with an accessory building that exceeds the maximum gross floor area in the zoning bylaw. The owner is proposing a new triplex building which would become the principal building on the subject property. And the single detached dwelling that currently exists on the subject property will become the secondary dwelling unit. The minor variance application is seeking relief from section 4.2.8 III of the zoning bylaw, which states that a secondary dwelling unit shall not exceed 40% of the gross floor area of the primary dwelling unit up to a maximum of 56 square meters. The gross floor area of the proposed secondary dwelling unit is 76 square meters. The minor variance application was reviewed in the context of the provincial policy statement. The provincial policy statement is a policy document that guides land use and development across Ontario. The subject property is located within the urban Sioux settlement area, which is considered a settlement area by the PPS. Section 1.1.3.1 of the PPS directs that settlement areas shall be the focus of growth and development. The proposed minor variance will contribute to promoting and concentrating development in the main settlement area in Sioux. The PPS seeks to build and sustain healthy communities by accommodating an appropriate, affordable, and market-based range and mix of residential types, including multi-unit housing. The proposed secondary dwelling unit in triplex will contribute to the housing stock of the municipality and potentially provide for affordable housing. 4 tests of the minor variance were reviewed regarding this application. The variance is in keeping with the intent of the official plan. The subject lands are designated residential. The proposed minor variance to permit a secondary dwelling unit with an accessory building is a permitted use under section 3.7 of the official plan, which states that secondary dwelling units are permitted within accessory buildings and all designations where residential uses are permitted. The proposed variance does not create any land use conflicts with the surrounding land uses. The variance is in keeping with the general intent of the zoning bylaw. The subject property is zoned residential type 2 of the zoning bylaw. Single detached dwellings and secondary dwelling units are permitted within the R2 zone. Section 4.283 of the zoning bylaw states that a secondary dwelling unit shall not exceed 40% of the gross floor area of the primary dwelling unit, up to 56 square meters. The zoning bylaw includes a maximum size of a secondary dwelling unit to ensure that they are accessory to a principal use and are generally in keeping with the character of the residential area. The locations of the proposed triplex and proposed secondary dwelling unit comply with the setback requirements of the R2 zone and the secondary dwelling unit within an accessory building respectively. proposed variance will lead to development that is desirable. The adjacent land uses are compatible with the proposed development. The development proposed additional housing options in this area of the municipality. Based on the review of the previous 4 tests of a minor variance, the variance appears to be minor.
Secretary Treasurer, were there any comments received for this application?
We did receive comments from the abutting property owner at 39 Prince, Andrew Victor Hyde Lindquist. The property on 39 Prince has an apartment in the basement with windows on the east side of the property. If the minor variance is approved, which will allow for the construction of the triplex will be located close to the west property line. Triplex's location will block sunlight to the basement windows on 39 Prince Street. There are trees on the property line between 37 Prince Street and 39 Prince Street. A secondary concern is about trees being knocked down after the construction of the triplex. It is desirable that the trees are safely removed prior to construction of the triplex to remove any tree falling hazards. These comments were shared with the property owner, and he states this as follows. Concerns about the trees. My neighbor at 39 Prince and I've already discussed the tree situation. I have informed them that the trees will be removed before the triplex is built. They will be safely removed away from his property. Additionally, the trees already block his basement windows, therefore, removing them should give him more natural sunlight than he already receives now. Lastly, the triplex was strategically placed, having the longer part of the building going in the opposite direction of his house, along with it being shifted over close to the street. The building should have no inconvenience to his basement window sunlight. In conclusion, you will end up with better sunlight to the basement, along with no worries about trees affecting his property or damages to his property in the future.
Duty statement, inspection reports. I go by one not being the sun is in the deep south, so we have shade. That's the issue, so. It looks like, you know, builder or developer. Heeded his concerns and it's good.
And he has a history, like the building that he has on there, she has refurbished, is beautiful.
Yeah.
He's done excellent work. He's improved the neighborhood. And I believe that will happen with this new build. You know, like good for him for being creative and coming up with ideas to add housing to our housing crises. We appreciate that.
Yeah, is there a presentation from the applicant or the agent? See none here. Are there any members of the public in attendance who wish to speak on the application? I will now open up the table for discussion of the application by my committee members.
I see this as positive. It's a good builder. That's great.
I'll open the floor for questions or comments.
So, just got curious. So that's changed now too in terms of town lots, size,
Right, so you mean,
Well, I mean, there's already a house on it and that's the town lot. So now he's putting a triplex in there, so there's 2 buildings on that one lot.
Yeah.
So that's,
yeah, so in the R2 zone, we permit kind of what they call laneway houses, which kind of that falls into an accessory dwelling unit within an accessory building, so that building is accessory to the main building on the property, which will eventually be the triplex. And because it's R2, you're allowed to have up to 4 units up.
It's going to be the solution to it. We need people to be creative and solutions like this.
I'll put the motion on the table. That the proposed variance is under the agent, it's in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the municipality's official plan. Sorry, appropriate development. ACR review the minor variance application with purely that the four tests of the minor variance are met. It is recommended that a minor variance be approved for now. Secondary dwelling unit on the subject property with a maximum gross floor area of 76 square meters. So, someone can move the motion. All in favor? On the floor, and the majority in favor, so the motion is carried. Now, 9.0 old business. Is there any old business to attend to? New business. Is there any new business that you need to be aware of?
Is it possible for us to change the meetings from 11 or from 12 to 1?
I think that I did look at the terms of reference, it doesn't specify a timeline, I mean. I guess the only thing I would advise is that most people who do submit applications. You know, work typical day jobs. Public members of the public may not be able to attend as a result. So it can take time off work, I guess.
But usually our meetings are even under an hour. So if we could even go 12 till. It would be 2 hours maximum, isn't it, 12 to 2?
Well, it depends how.
Yeah. And then that way the public would be able to attend on the lunch hour. To change the time of the lunch to lunch hour. We did it with the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, it's really worked well.
I mean, obviously, staff is more important than we are. Staff can't be here. That's the key, but.
You know, I mean.
We can be
Yes.
here, it's just.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, we can be here regardless of what you guys want to do, it's just the public that may not be able to
But
attend.
it's a public
As a
meeting,
result.
people have to attend, but I mean, people could attend.
I know.
Yeah.
You can see it's a bit of a touch.
Yeah.
It depends what it is, so.
Yeah,
No, for sure.
I think people are gonna attend. It's just,
and it is broadcast now. So
Yeah.
people can watch it.
put it under consideration.
Yeah. So how
You got it.
do we do that?
Well, we could just say you guys want to have the meetings from 11 to 1 or whatever it is. So
Okay, well, let's try it one time, see how it goes, and then maybe decide from there.
How convenient is that to the people who are coming?
Well, that's-
That's what-
Sometimes they're working, I mean, they're.
Well, that's my concern, yes.
If we have it 12 until 2, they would be able to come on the lunch hour. hopefully.
I think, but there's also the people that do have applications or nurses that are working night shift
Yeah.
and people work night shift as well, so it's.
Yeah, we have a large population that work shift working, so.
We can see about the thing.
You want to think about it, or do you want to try it one time? You want to think about it?
I think we should talk to,
Yeah.
the other committee.
Yeah.
members also, and see what they think.
Well, we can come out and just send out an email asking the question and
Oh, that's
see what kind of response you get.
Okay.
So you're saying the staff wouldn't mind, do we know that for sure?
I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm pretty busy during the day, so it's kind of nice to be after work too, but. Yeah, again, it's really up to you guys, so you know, it's not proceed.
I mean. My concern, I mean, I myself, I'm pretty free, but my concern would be. You know, the people involved, and they're the ones that are doing the work. To me, what's convenient for them.
Again, it doesn't. It just means we take time during the day to do it versus time short. So I guess from our point of view, whatever you guys decide, it's fine with us.
Talk to you,
Yeah.
What about your lunch break thing?
I could probably stand and not have a few lunches.
If you bring your lunch here, make sure you got a big serviette.
I'll bring a meat and cheese for every time they do it. No, that's not a big deal, we just have lunch to do.
Okay, move on to new business,
So do you want me to send an email?
Yeah.
tomorrow?
Yeah, let's see what they say.
21, 22? Starting with, or 11?
I think people will be able to come more. To be there for lunch. with them. So I think maybe 12 to 2. Send your within the lunch hours, right?
So, what are you saying, we're doing it?
No, she's gonna ask them the question.
Oh,
They're
okay.
waiting.
Yeah.
Let's see how many responses
Yeah.
do I get, and
Yeah.
then I will send an email.
motion. On the table to adjourn today's meeting. Can I get a mover?
Yeah, okay.
And a seconder. And we have a motion on the floor, the Committee of Adjustment Consent Granting Authority meeting of April 2nd, to be adjourned at 17:38. All in favor?